Da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. Since it's so damn cold here in Kentucky, I literally went from 80 degrees, drove 1,000 miles north, and it snowed like the last 100 miles. Like, I just left it 80 degrees, and now I'm in snow. Since it's so cold, I want to put on this hat that Fujifilm sent me, by the way. Fuji! I look like I'm gangsta now. Woo, gangsta! Fuji! Uh, he keeps my bald head warm. There we go. Something Fujifilm is lacking. This is the one time. This isn't criticism. Well, maybe it is criticism. Well, maybe it's not. Something that's lacking can be added in firmware. It also exists on the Nikon D80. Well, there's a reason the Nikon D80 has to have really heavy-handed focus peaking, is because there's no electronic viewfinder. So you got to chimp off the back screen, and in really bright conditions, you need that really heavy, super thick, damn lens cap. These stupid Voigtlander lens caps don't stay on. Have to have that really heavy focus peaking, whether it be red or white or blue, like on the D850. And the focus peaking on the Fujifilm is excellent, but one thing that needs to be added, it really does, and a lot of other people agree with me. Are you listening, Fuji? Are you listening? Are you listening, Fuji? Is that sort of super peaking. I can call it super peaking. Now, as it exists in the Fujifilm X-T1, X-T2, GFX, and X-H1, by the way, I love the hell out of this camera. Right now, I'd lick this camera. I do. Oh, you're a Fuji fanboy. No, I'm not. This video is just a little bit of criticism. One thing Fujifilm needs to add is this super peaking. Right now, we have white low and white high peaking. Same thing for red and blue. And we also have yellow peaking now in the Fujifilm X-H1. We need super peaking. I know this can be added in firmware really easy. Fujifilm, please God, listen to me. You need to add, and other people, a lot of other people agree with me on this, you need to add a form of super peaking. Now, I know, it's like, well, you don't have to jump off the back of the LCD screen. You can look through the viewfinder. Still not enough. Like when it's scorching bright outside, even white high or red high or blue high, doesn't matter what color, it's not enough. It's not enough in some cases. Fujifilm peaking is really, really damn good, but they need that ultra. It's about, people say, what would super peaking be? People that don't know what it looks like on a D850, for example. It is about 4 times as broad, as thick, as obnoxious. It's kind of like using a fat line Sharpie marker instead of a thin tip Sharpie marker for the peaking. Okay, that's a good example. It's a fat line Sharpie versus a thin point Sharpie. As it is currently on Fujifilm, the high on white, red, and blue, and now yellow on the X-H1, it's like a thin line Sharpie. It's like, well, that's plenty good enough 90% of the time, but there's that 10% where it's just not enough. So please, God, Fujifilm, add super peaking. I'm calling it super peaking. Add that super peaking to the firmware on your cameras. Please, God, please do add it. It is needed. I'm begging you, please add it. Fujifilm did listen to me on one thing. I noted how awful their lens caps were, and I heard that because of my complaining, and it's not a complaint, it was legitimate gripes, like, hey, I own every Fujifilm lens, I love the hell out of Fujifilm products, but these lens caps, they suck. Fujifilm redesigned those lens caps. I was right. You know, it's not like, well, he thinks this. There's some people think, well, Fujifilm or so-and-so company needs to do this. He's like, well, that's just your damn opinion, right? It's like, but is that position valid? I make sure if I can complain about something, it's not just my subjective belief. It's like, no, it's empirically and objectively valid. Like the lens caps were, ooh, they were awful. Fujifilm has redesigned the lens caps as of almost a year ago now. So that's fixed. Fujifilm, please add this in your firmware. By the way, I am loving the hell out of my X-Light. You see it like my handmade hand strap? Everybody asks me, it's like, where did you get that hand strap? It's like, I made it myself by hand. This is one that's custom dyed and cut, made out of leather, and nylon overlay with chrome-plated brass buckles. It's really nice. This actually helps steady the camera, because if you didn't have this strap here, you'd have to grip the camera, and then you have all these muscles in your hand fighting and shaking the camera, no matter how good your hand holding. With the strap here, I'm actually able to greatly reduce my contact points on the camera and actually have even a better slow shutter speed, less vibration on the shot taken. That's a fact. That's why I have all these hand straps on my Fujifilm cameras. I didn't even on my Nikon, so. Please God, Fujifilm, add super peaking, at least that's what I'm calling it, to your firmware updates. Namaste. Hurry! Fuji! I like this hat you sent me, by the way. You know, gangsta! It needs a little bit of flair. I mean, it's like a peacock feather sticking out of it, right? I got a peacock feather out of it. That might not look too good, right? No. Oh, wait a minute, I just figured out where I can store my lens caps. So I'm changing my lenses, and I take off my body cap and my lens cap. I could, like, store my body caps and my lens caps up here. Hey, smart. Smart thinking. I've had too much coffee! Too much coffee. Right now, somebody at Fujifilm is looking at this video and going, that guy's a little too strange. Not really. I just had too much coffee. That, and I'm still, like, wasted from, no, not alcohol or anything, wasted from my 1,000-mile drive from South Florida back to Kentucky. I hate driving. I especially hate really long drives. They stress me out. So, thank you. Namaste. Thank you for the hat, Fujifilm. It's, my head is already scorching hot in the 10 minutes or so that I've had it on my head. Thank you. Goodbye.